Okay, so I'm probably going to seem really hectic in this video. I have a bunch of movies in front of me. I've already tried to film this twice, but my phone, I film on my phone and it cuts to another video at a certain time, and I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen so I don't have to merge the videos. And I'm very close to like that point at the end of the video when it's about to merge. So the second time I filmed this, I was like running out of time and the ending was rushed, so I'm gonna try again. These are also my hair is not cut. It's just like this. This is just how it is right now. Anyway, these are some October Halloween favorite movies of mine, like recommendations. If I don't name a certain movie, then I either haven't seen that or I just it's not a favorite. Yeah, I think you've probably heard of most of these films. There are some that probably are a little bit more under the radar. And yeah, so there are just a bunch of. Oh, I also have this piece of paper taped to my bookshelf because I have like them all listed and then the years as well. And so there's just a mix of a bunch of different scary, suspenseful, creepy, horror, classic films. Is that it? That's it? The amount of swearing, nudity, and gore varies depending on the film, and that's just stuff I'm not going to go into. Also, this is probably just going to be like a list, and like I'm not going to tell you anything about them, especially because you probably already know. Yeah, so these are just recommendations, some of my favorites. Let's get into it. So first, I'm going to start with Vampyr from 1932. Most of it's going to be in chronological order, but some things out of order. This is a German film, so one of the few foreign films that I have on this list. And I'm starting with this because this was the first film that I watched in October. And I had already seen it before, but I really recognized the direction. Like there was a lot of panning, which I don't, just like added suspense to the film. And it's something that I just feel the need to comment on. Yeah, Vampyr, which this is an adaptation of two of J. Sheridan Le Fanu's short stories, Carmilla, and I wrote the other one down, The Room in the Dragon Volant. So this is the Criterion edition, which includes, this is the, half of this book is the screenplay, and then the other half is the short story Carmilla. That's a vampire film. Also, I realized that it could be called Vampire, but I've just always said it as Vampyr. And then, of course, another vampire film that I recommend is Nosferatu from 1922. I don't have this, but last year I watched it on YouTube. So if I can find that video, I'll link it in the description. I would love to rewatch it this year too. And of course, you can't mention vampire films without mentioning Dracula from, what year is Dracula? 1931. And I have that in this classic Universal Classic Monsters collection, which also includes Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, The Bride of Frankenstein, The Wolf Man, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the only film in here that I would not recommend, The Phantom of the Opera. So I actually have not seen The Invisible Man because it's the only book that I haven't read of the films here that are adaptations of books. Yeah, so I can't like fully recommend that one only because I haven't seen it. But I love Dracula in this, and I love The Mummy. And I think I prefer The Bride of Frankenstein over Frankenstein, but those are still great. The only bad one, I think, is The Phantom of the Opera. So instead of watching the 1943 The Phantom of the Opera, watch the classic silent film from 1925. That one's so good. And then I'm obsessed with The Phantom of the Opera, to be honest. And my favorite film version, I guess, of The Phantom of the Opera is this Live at the Royal Albert Hall 25th Anniversary Edition. So this is like the musical adaptation on film. It's a live performance. And the only thing I don't like about this, though, is that the audio like is unbalanced. Like they'll speak really quietly, and then you'll be turning up the volume, and then the music will kick in, and you'll be like, oh my god, it's so loud. The music is so loud, but they speak so quietly. So That's the only downside to this. One of the reasons why this is my favorite is because Ramin Karimloo, yes, Sierra Boggess, and Hadley Fraser are my three favorite, like, Phantom, Christine, and Raoul, like, respectively. Those are the actors who play those characters. They're my favorites. Favorite actors who play those characters. Yes. And, I just love this. The costumes, the music. I love the Phantom of the Opera. And then a couple more that I don't have are the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari from 1920, which I think last year was on Netflix. So I'm hoping like maybe it'll be on Netflix this year as well. I'm super unsure whether or not certain films I mention here are on Netflix or on what streaming services they would be on. The Man Who Laughs from 1928. This one I think is one of the films on this list that is more like under the radar, that you wouldn't necessarily hear a bunch of people recommending compared to the more popular, famous films. And then I have some films that are a part of the Vincent Price collection and the Vincent Price collection too. These are put out by Scream Factory. There is a third volume, but I don't have that one. And so from the Vincent Price collection, my favorites in this are The Pit and the Pendulum from 1961, The House of Usher, or The Fall of the House of Usher from 1960, and The Mask of the Red Death from 1964. That one's actually my favorite. So that's the one that I would recommend the most. And then Fall of House of Usher, that one's my second favorite. There's 6 films in this, but I'll just show you this briefly. That's the back. And then from the Vincent Price collection too, my favorites here are The House on Haunted Hill from 1959 and The Tomb of Lygia from 1964. And then I'll show you the back as well, and you can always, like, although I don't know how well that's really coming out, you can always pause it or just look up what the other films are. And then, of course, my second favorite film, my favorite scary movie, Psycho from 1960. This is also in the Alfred Hitchcock Masterpiece Collection, which is a box set. This is just the DVD I thought I would show you. And then a couple Mario Bava films, Black Sunday from 1960, which I don't have, and that's my favorite Mario Bava film. He's an Italian director. He does giallo films. Giallo? That's the term, right? But my brother has one of his other films from 1963, The Girl Who Knew Too Much. And this is the Arrow edition. And this is also called Evil Eye, so that's an alternative title. Alternate title. Yes. And this one is only Region B. So I think this is the only thing so far that I've mentioned that is not Region A. Bunny Lake is Missing from 1965. Yes, I'm looking at the year. If I'm looking up, it's just because I'm like double checking the year. This one is best to not know anything about it anyway, so I don't feel too bad like not telling you about it, except for the fact that it's called Bunny Lake is Missing. And I just remember like recording this. It was on TCM one year and I recorded it and I was like, oh my god, that was so good. And I had to get it. So when Twilight Time announced that they were releasing it, I got it. But since then, a different label has released it. I'm just unsure. I can't remember what label that is. Also from 1965, Repulsion. This I actually watched. One, it's because, well, 3 reasons. It's a Criterion film. It has Catherine Deneuve in it, who is one of my favorite actresses, and I had heard that this is a film that is an accurate depiction of schizophrenia. And like having watched that, I don't really know if that's like the intention of it, but I would definitely say that if Carol, the main character, like really does have schizophrenia, this would be an accurate depiction. I would agree with that. I'm really into psychology. I just don't really know if that's what's happening. Yeah. And then a film that I don't have that's also available on Criterion and basically been on my Criterion wish list since it was announced, Rosemary's Baby from 1968. And then another 1968 film, classic here, can't go wrong with it, Night of the Living Dead. This is a steelbook that I think is like out of print now. This was like super limited. I happened to get it, and it's super shiny. And the back says, "They won't stay dead." Yeah, this is just overall iconic film. Can't go wrong with it. And I'm sure a bunch of other people are also recommending it. And then probably like an outlier on this list is the Rocky Horror Picture Show from 1975. This is the 40th anniversary collection. It opens up. If I can open it, there we go. It opens up. There's that photo. Closes. There's like Velcro at the top and bottom. And that's the Blu-ray disc. And then it comes with some other things. Gloves. And fishnet stockings, which I've not used. This is actually like one of my most watched films, probably. Like, there are certain films on this list that I've just seen so many times. This one I think I watched a couple years ago, like every week, or just like every day for a week or something like that. I don't know, just a ridiculous number of times. As well as, sorry, I'm grabbing it again. Repulsion is something that I think I watch at least every October. Probably like at least twice a year, I would say. I really like that film. Carrie, another classic film. This is probably one of my favorite like classic scary movies. Carrie from 1976. This is the Scream Factory edition. Here is the like alternative. Is it alternative or alternate? Alternative is a genre of music. What are you saying? How many times have I said alternative instead of alternate? I don't know. Now I'm like questioning everything I'm saying. I love this film. Actually, my younger brother really doesn't like it. He rented it and he watched it and he didn't like it and he was going to return it. And then I was like, no, I want to see that. And then I watched it and I was like, how did he not like this? But the remake's bad. Don't watch that one. Watch this one. And actually, a fun fact about this, Piper Laurie, who plays the mom, thought that Carrie was a black comedy. So, like, it's interesting to see her performance knowing that she thought it was a black comedy. Like, she would not be convinced that it's like it's based on the scary story. Carrie. And then, Invasion of the Body Snatchers from 1978. This one I prefer to the original from the 50s. This is another Arrow edition. I love this artwork. This is also Region B, so you have to have a Region B player or a Region Free player. And I think now that we're getting to like the late 70s and 80s, here are some more just like classic films that everyone's probably going to be watching. That's so general. Everyone's going to be watching these. The Shining from 1980. The Evil Dead from 1981. I don't know where I got this steelbook in particular. The other ones? Is this only the second one? Night of the Living Dead I got on Zavi, or Zavi, I've heard it pronounced both ways. I know that one's not available anymore. I'm not sure about this one. And on the back is Ash with the chainsaw. And then my favorite classic horror series or classic scary movie series is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Particularly the third one, I'm pretty sure, which is Dream Warriors. This is a collection of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Freddy's Dead, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So those are the films included in this set. I'm pretty sure the third one, Dream Warriors, is my favorite. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so this is my favorite, like, classic horror series. I've seen pretty much all of the major ones. There's just some minor ones or lesser talked about ones that I haven't seen, like Hellraiser. I had a couple other examples, like Leprechaun and Puppet Master. I haven't seen those. My younger brother has, but a lot of major ones like A Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Scream, the Friday the 13th, the Child's Play, like all those I had actually seen by the time I was 12. 12 at the oldest. I really think 11, but 12 at the oldest. So, I don't know, just fun fact about me, I guess. And then I have a few more that I don't own. Fright Night from 1985. Love this movie. I'd love to have this movie. I know that there's like a couple releases out there now. I should get my hands on one of those. The Lost Boys from 1987. Beetlejuice from 1988, which I actually think we have downstairs, but I forgot about it. And because some of these are my brother's. Yeah. And so this one is actually my brother's. Night of the Demons from 1988. This artwork is so busy. Oh, here's the, that's like the original movie poster. I love this. This is just like one of those cheesy sort of horror, scary, slasher films. I pretty much like use the terms horror and scary like interchangeably, although they are in my mind a little different. Night of the Demons. This is one of the Scream Factory releases. Edward Scissorhands from 1990. It's a Tim Burton film. You like can't go wrong with Tim Burton films, and I have a few more of his films that I will be mentioning. Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992. I actually think that this is one of the lesser like talked about Francis Ford Coppola films. It's been a while since I've seen it, and I don't think I've watched it since I've read Dracula. Yeah, I'd like to watch that again. I also love Winona Ryder. I love Winona Ryder. That was for emphasis. Okay. Interview with the Vampire from 1994. I don't have that one. And then the other series, because I have two series that I would consider my favorite, or favorites. Scream, which the third in particular is my favorite. But like for this series, it's just where all of it comes together and things are fully revealed and you're like, oh my God. Well, at least like me as like a 10-year-old, 9-year-old was like, oh my God. Like things are going down in the third. And it's great. But I like the entire trilogy. Let's ignore the fourth one happened. Actually, are they continuing these? They said they were going to do like another trilogy and then it didn't happen. Yeah. Actually, I have a third series on here, but this one's like lesser loved, I guess. Underworld. The first one is from 2003. And I just think it's like a fun vampire werewolf series. And yeah, I just like the world of it and the way that the way that that world is like depicted. And then probably the film that barely anyone will know about and has a really low IMDb rating, but I love it, and that's Stay Alive from 2006. So I think I saw this around the time that it came out. It was just like available on demand randomly, and I was over a friend's house and we were watching a bunch of scary movies, and this was one of them, and I loved it. I loved it. And so here it is, and I haven't seen it in a really long time, but I think it like still gives me the creeps every single time that I watch it, like even though I'm like in my 20s now. Yeah. This one, because it's probably one of the only ones you don't know about. That's me being assumptuous, but stick with it. Stay Alive is about a video game that if you die in the video game, you die in real life the same exact way that you died in the video game. And I think one of the reasons why I love this movie is because it introduced me to Elizabeth Bathory, who is a historical figure. She was a Hungarian countess, and she is most famous for being the Blood Countess. She kidnapped young virgin girls and drained them of their blood and bathed in their blood because she thought that it made her look younger and like revitalize her skin. And it's because of this film that I like discovered who Elizabeth Bathory was, and like I just think she's really interesting. Like it's weird to say that I like her, or that it's weird to say that I would like Elizabeth Bathory, but she's just someone in history that I am interested in, I guess. And the video game is about her. Did I say that? That's why I'm talking about her. That's the connection, is that the video game is based around her. And yeah. Cheesy, not a great movie, but super enjoyable, I think. It's been a while since I've seen it, though. But yeah, Stay Alive. And then another Tim Burton film, Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. And I don't know where I got this steelbook. And I think this one is Region A, I'm pretty sure. I will double check on the disc. Is it going to tell me? No, it's not going to tell me. But I'm pretty sure I've watched it in my room, which means it's Region A. But also I think Region B. Yeah. Sweeney Todd, I love this musical. This is another one that I just like have seen so many times. There he is, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. I'm like so gonna watch this soon. I can just like feel it. Another steelbook, this one's super shiny, The Orphanage from 2007, and this is produced by Guillermo del Toro, and it just looks like, it just feels like a Guillermo del Toro film, and I think I actually prefer it to the two I've seen, Pan's Labyrinth and The Devil's Backbone, and I think I prefer this one, which is interesting. I definitely want to rewatch this year, and actually this is my brother's steelbook, and he didn't like it as much as I did. And he loves Night of the Living Dead. And now that Night of the Living Dead has been released on Criterion, I might switch him for it. Like, switch my Night of the Living Dead steelbook for his The Orphanage steelbook. Because he's offered that before. And I was like, no. But, yeah, I'm thinking about it. And I think just saying that it seems like a Guillermo del Toro film gives you, like, enough of a sort of feeling like it's not 100% like a scary or like horror film, if you get what I mean. The Orphanage. This one, again, I think is maybe one that is overlooked compared to a lot of the other films here. And then a couple that I don't have, The House of the Devil from 2009, which I love the cinematography of because it takes place in 1983 and it feels like you're watching a classic film and not a recent film. The Cabin in the Woods from 2012, which is actually downstairs, but I forgot to get it. That one's great. Byzantium from 2012, and this is a vampire film. The back is, I think that's fine. It's actually like you can barely tell. You can't see anything, basically, is what I'm saying. Byzantium, a vampire film, and I think actually this one is, I think has some blood in it, is a bit gory, but not as much as the next one, or one of the next ones. And I think Stay Alive is also a little bit gory. I thought I would mention that because I know that not everyone can deal with blood as well. So the other one that's super gory, this one is the most gory out of all the films that I'm mentioning, and that's the remake of Evil Dead. This is from 2013. I like the original and the remake. This one is like insane though, with the gore, and just insane in general, I think. But I skipped one because I was talking about gory things, and I thought that would be weird to mention this one. Paranorman from 2012, which is like a children's film. Weird to mention while you're talking about how gory a film is. And actually, another animated film that I would recommend is, that I didn't write down, is Frankenweenie. And not only that, but there's like Tim Burton's short film that it's based on. He's also the director of the animated version from like 2012 also, maybe, or like give or take a year. And so there's the short film that is based on, and also another short film directed by Tim Burton called Vincent, narrated by Vincent Price, and it's about this little boy named Vincent who is obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe. And I just really love it. Only Lovers Left Alive from 2013, and this is the Plain Archive release. There were like two versions of this. I don't remember which version this is. This is another vampire film. Just vampires. You can't go wrong with vampires around Halloween time. And then the last film I have on my list is The Love Witch from 2016, which is also kind of an outlier because it just like doesn't have the same feel. It actually feels like you're watching a film from like the 50s or 60s. Just everything about it, I really like it. I know that it's sort of hit or miss for people. I love the direction, and there's just so, I don't know. I'm gonna link a sort of video essay about The Love Witch in the description that I totally agreed with like everything that he was saying, and I actually learned more about the sort of production and inspiration behind the film. Yeah, The Love Witch. And actually, is that available from Scream Factory as well? I know somebody put it out. Somebody did. Someone released it. Okay, that's everything. Oh my god. This is 5 minutes shorter than I have previously recorded, which is crazy. I'm sorry if this like felt rushed and was kind of hectic. I just wanted to make sure that I got in all the films that I wanted to recommend and like tell you are favorites of mine. And again, sorry I didn't really tell you that much about them, but I'm really confident that you're familiar with a lot of these. And if not, just like leave a comment in the description. Leave a comment in the comments and be like, well, what's something else that you like about that film, or whatever. Also, my eye's twitching. You can leave your favorite films to watch in October around Halloween time in the comments, or anything that you may think that I like. Again, I might have already seen it before and it's just like not a favorite, or I haven't seen it and then you might convince me to watch it this month or next month, or just like move it higher on my list of films to watch. Yes, okay. Thank you for watching. And my next video is actually going to be kind of related to this because I wanted to get this one out here first, but my next video is probably going to be sort of fall recommendations, like things that you could still do, like watch or read in October, but also works for November. But I wanted to get this one out here first. Okay, yes, so thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.